I think you can make fun of anything except things people can't help. They can't help their race or their sex or their age, so you ridicule their pretension or their ego instead. You can ridicule ideas. Ideas don't have feelings. You can ridicule an idea that someone holds without hurting them. People confuse the subject of the joke with the target of the joke, and they're very rarely the same. Science is constantly proved all the time. If we take something like any fiction, any holy book, and destroyed it, in 1,000 years' time, that wouldn't come back just as it was. Whereas if we took every science book and every fact and destroyed them all, in 1,000 years they'd all be back because all the same tests would be the same result. Where there's a will, there's a relative. Everything I do is somehow rooted in humanity. It's always about people. It's always about ego. It's always about desperation. It's quite existential. You know, am I leading a good life? That might be because I'm an atheist, and I think this is all we've got, so you better be nice. And have fun. With the internet era and social media and politics being so out there with the lies, now you've got people denying things they're on camera doing, and then you've got people not really caring about the truth. You've got people supporting people who've done horrific things, but just don't want the other side to get any satisfaction. I don't like it when I see a racist comedian go up and say, "What are we gonna do about all these immigrants?" and they get around the applause. I think, well, that's not a joke, that's just your biased opinion. Free speech is one of the most important things to me, but I think it gets confusing when it comes to offense. Because for one, just because you have the right to say anything, it doesn't mean you have to. I am not a wolf in sheep's clothing, I'm a wolf in wolf's clothing. Proper stupidity is fascinating. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. I think being nice is more important than being clever. You should make something. You should bring something into the world that wasn't in the world before. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a table or a film or gardening, everyone should create. You should do something, then sit back and say, "I did that." I didn't know I was poor, growing up, because everyone was in the same boat. I couldn't have bikes. It never really bothered me, but I could have any book. I loved school. I loved learning. Yeah, I never cared for possessions. I still don't, really. Sometimes being old is used as an insult, which is bizarre because, if you're lucky, that's literally going to happen to you. It's a strange thing to gloat about, being born recently. If I just cut out the food, I'd have a six-pack. I'd look like Matthew McConaughey. Pol Pot, he rounded up anybody he thought was intellectual and had them executed. And how he told someone was intellectual or not was whether they wore glasses. If they're that clever, take them off when they see him coming. I don't care whether people say, The Office is rubbish, Extras is worse, Flanimals is a waste of time. He's not funny, he never has been. I hate him, I don't mind that at all. In fact, not only do I expect it, I celebrate it, because I think the haters are really important. I haven't had my teeth fixed, I haven't had a hair transplant, I haven't had a skin peel, tummy tuck. I've done literally nothing. There's no difference between fame and infamy now. There's a new school of professional famous people that don't do anything. They don't create anything. Stupidity without malice isn't horrible. Some people can't help it. I'd much rather eat exactly what I want, and then burn it off, than diet. My dad was a laborer, and he used to get up at 5:30 every morning. He worked for 50 years of his life, in all weathers for, by showbiz standards, petty cash. I remind myself of that when I feel a little bit spoiled or hard done by. Honor is a gift a man gives himself. You can be as good as anyone that ever lived. If you can read, you can learn everything that anyone ever learned, but you've got to want it. There are no Hollywood stars speaking out for the elderly. They're forgotten, bewildered, and I don't think it's because people are cruel or don't care. It's because you don't want to think about your own mortality. I think people don't talk about it enough. My career, I look at it in a Darwinian framework. I'm going to do exactly what I want, and I'm going to survive. Or I'm not. I'm not going to pander. I'm not going to change things. I'm not going to do focus groups. I'll live and die by the sword. I don't care, because I couldn't live with myself. I think it's important to hold a mirror up to society and yourself. Cynicism, to me, is trying to make people as unhappy as you are. I remember asking my mom when I was about 13, why are my brothers and sisters so much older than me? And she just said, you were a mistake. And I laughed. I was very protective of my privacy. I didn't want people to write bad things about me that weren't true, because that's just not fair. 50% of everything written about me is wrong. I'm a scientist at heart, so I know how important the truth is. However inconvenient, however unattractive, however embarrassing, however shocking, the truth is the truth, and wanting it not to be true doesn't change things. Look, just tell me where that lemon came from and I'll shut up and go away. Why buy a book when you can join a library? I don't do karaoke. I don't dance, even at weddings. I'm the grumpy one sitting down drinking wine. It's funny because I was offered film parts the first week after The Office went out. I was sent a script, and I said, "Who's the lead?" They said, "We want you to be." And I said, "Well, who's going to go and see that?" "You want John Cusack." I think all art, even one as lowly as making jokes about celebrities, is there to make a connection. I think Dustin Hoffman has been in at least 3 of my favorite movies of all time, with things like Tootsie, Marathon Man, getting a bit more art house and darker, The Graduate, incredible, barrier-breaking movie, The Graduate. To be fair to David Brent, he wants to be famous for doing something, for being a musician, but he's just not good enough. What makes Derek a different kind of sitcom, if it is even a sitcom, is its sincerity. The only thing that really depresses me is animal cruelty. I like flying to New York from London. It's like a day off for me. No phone or emails. Food, wine, iPod, movies, snoozing. When I was about to be famous, I feared it on a few levels. I feared it because I didn't want people to lump me in with those people who'd do anything to be famous. I didn't like the word celebrity. I feared intrusion, you know. Make me famous, and suddenly you can go through my trash bins. I don't know what Trump has to do to lose his supporters. It's like a religion. He's a school bully. Fame is an upshot of what I do. If you're a successful comedian or actor, then you're a famous one. But it's not the driving force. It's a byproduct. I don't believe in ghosts or ESP or elves, or God. But I am spiritual in the sense that I get a lump in my throat when I listen to Vaughan Williams. If you spend your days doing what you love, it is impossible to fail. So I go about my days trying to bring something into the world that wasn't in the world before. And then everyone gets furious about it. And then I sit back and say, I did that. I've been lucky enough to be able to choose exactly where I want to live. I don't mind what people say about me as long as it's an opinion or the truth. If someone says, he's the worst comedian in the world, that's fine. If someone says, his face makes me want to punch the TV, that's fine. But if they say, oh, and I know for a fact he hunts squirrels, I go, no, 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 that's a lie. You can laugh at anything, it depends on the joke. I'm a fan of the kind of political correctness that is about not promoting prejudice. But some people in America are offended by equality because when you've had privilege for so long, equality feels like oppression. Visit our website for more quotes, quoting.com.